Afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the PHx Fashion Conversations, brought to you by the PHx Fashion Conference Group. Today, this Saturday afternoon, we will be joined by CEO Studio, which is joined by their CEO Deane Miguel. The CEO Studio is a branding and design agency which aims to build brands with soul and substance through strategic thinking and intentional design. CEO Studio has worked with companies such as Alveo, BLK Cosmetics, Gcash, Dove, Bumble, among others. For today, we would like to introduce to you Dear Serious. It is an anonymous advice column for brands big and small by CEO Studio. Overwhelmed with the volume of applications for their initiative Brand Aid, CEO Studio sought to find a way to reach more brands and businesses through this initiative. But today, PHx Fashion Conversation brings to you Dear Serious Live. And for today, we would like to welcome in the CEO of CEO Studio, Deane Miguel.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Deane.
Hello. So, Esme, can I share my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. All right. Thank you again, Deane, for joining us today. And welcome everyone who joined us and signed up for this session. All right.
Okay. So, hi guys, thank you so much for inviting us, and thank you our audience for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. So yeah, I'm Deane. I'm one of the founders of CEO Studio, and we're a branding agency based here in Manila. So yeah, there. Nag-work ba? Nag-work ba yung slide?
Yes.
Okay. So although we work with local and international clients, and how we work is really we help companies with their brand strategy and brand identity needs, either in coming up with a new concept from scratch, or for existing companies, it's to help them reimagine and refresh their business, refresh their identity to reflect their business's new direction. So I don't want to assume that you guys all know who we are, which is why I put here like a little reel of the work that we've done to just show a glimpse of the projects we've done already. There. Okay. So our studio philosophy is make sense and look good. It's really simple. We believe that the best things are created when form and function go hand in hand, and hence our holistic approach that involves both strategy and design. So I want to make it clear that I'm not the only person in the team. I actually started the studio with my then boyfriend, now husband, who is my clicker right now. Wala siyang choice. And we started the studio 8 years ago and have since expanded to a really great team of 15. Actually, the meat of today's conversation will really be about the post-pandemic Filipino consumer, and that article was actually written by one of our brand strategists, Chantel Munoz, and some of the insights I'll be sharing here today will also come from Car Abola, also one of our brand strategists. So shout out, guys. They couldn't join me here today, but I made sure to gather insights from them also.
Yeah. They're here in spirit.
In spirit, in mind, and in spirit. Okay, so we also started our own little magazine called The Serious Review. It's available online and offline. It's a publication about branding, business, and design. So actually, noong March, we were supposed to launch and distribute the print edition, and we even had a launch party in place. But of course, like literally, it happened so fast, nagka-lockdown, and then the virus was actually bigger than we all thought it was going to be. So we decided to cancel everything. And of course, like our mission was really to share as much information as possible on branding, business, design. So we decided to offer the PDF for free. It's actually free to download. And the print edition naman, it's still available for purchase on our website. Depende na lang on how quarantine is like with regards to deliveries. But here to Sydney, of course, just wanted to show you guys the labor of love our team put into this. It was so devastating to not have launched it and distributed it as much as we wanted, but it's okay. It's
It was
okay.
supposed to be a big party, right?
Yeah, Gabbie. But it was our first party pa ever because we've always just been a very quiet sort of team, and I feel like we're sort of a secret weapon medyo in the background of a lot of the work that we do, and first time that we were actually just gonna do something just for ourselves. But it's okay. Honestly, when the virus scare was happening, we were already like, guys, let's cancel it. Even before the lockdown happened, kami na mismo nagsabi na that will be like a petri dish for the virus, and I wouldn't want to be responsible for making a lot of people sick, like a lot of really great people in the industry sick. So that's why we canceled it. But anyway, yeah,
you can check that out on your website, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so I wanted to start here, branding and fashion, this being a conversation for the fashion community. And first of all, I want to be transparent about the fact that us as CEO Studio, we've never really had direct experience in creating brand identity work for a fashion brand. However, we have worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, big and small, helping provide direction of how their brand should go. So we base all our decisions on research, market studies, industry checks, and everything. And with our process, it's normal for us to provide the overall visual and verbal direction of the brand. And the end output of this is actually super graphic in nature, but based on what we've observed, branding is a little different with fashion. And really, fashion brands, we think, are just really built on the vision of the founder. And the fashion brands will always be tied to the vision of the founding designer's aesthetic and ethos. And you can see this actually with, all the legacy fashion houses and how they constantly reference the original aesthetic core of the founding designer. And, fashion houses evolve decades, and the task of the new creative director would just be to respect the heritage of the house related to today's context and to infuse their personal touch as well. And really, this is best portrayed by Dior, and how the brand has really evolved throughout the years with the different creative minds that have handled the brand. Of course, like when Dior started this brand, he had this vision to allow women to feel like women again, and it was dubbed as the new look. And his goal was for women to rediscover joy, elegance, and beauty. And it's so nice to have seen this asserted throughout the years with the different creative directors and to have that vision translated consistently. So, of course, in talking about fashion branding, I have to also talk about really good local fashion brands. And of course, sila yung mga guests natin today. I really wanted to talk about why it was important to have them on board and what good they're doing in their own little brands. And their own brands. Okay. So starting with Vanya, of course. We all know her. She has stayed consistent throughout the years, even as trends have gone by. Her vision is so apparent that you can look at her archival work. It's on her website, and when you compare it to her pieces today, you can see how much she has really kept to her core. She has a lot of her literal signature design details that have remained so consistent, and her work really reflects this really good understanding of the modern woman, of femininity and the strength found in that. And what's even more amazing is with this pandemic, she was able to deliver this strong vision to this modern woman and her new normal needs. Sobrang ganda ng PPEs niya, and her face masks are so comfortable. I mean, I made sure na as soon as she announced it, I was like, abang talaga ako, I want a piece of that. And honestly, like, I've been buying so many face masks, and hers are really like super comfortable and super functional. And I also want to commend her for being bold enough to launch a new collection amidst the current climate. I feel like it's movers like her in the industry that can help continue pushing, the narrative of Philippine fashion even during such a difficult time, and others can also follow, which is so great. Then of course there's Gabbie. I'm wearing something by Gabbie. Hi Gabbie. So her brand has also been so strong, and on her website she describes some of her pieces as pages of culture immortalized, created to tell the romance of heritage. And her vision is so clear and very apparent in her aesthetic, in her choice of materials, down to the way she names her collections and the way she weaves the stories behind them. There's always intent, there's always meaning. And of course, her hand embroidery that people have come to love and know her for features a lot of native blossoms and elements that, again, just really ties back to her whole DNA as a brand. And being one of the guests today, I really look forward to ask her about how things have been, how she was able to translate this design philosophy to face masks as well, which I think is so, so good. And last but not the least, Sandy Cheeks. So I know that see Gabbie and Vanya, compared to them, Sandy would be more of a high street brand. But I think just to talk about what's great about Sandy Cheeks as a brand is, they were able to effectively communicate this whole body positive and empowering narrative by way of their product. It's so strong that all you have to do is look at their Instagram. You don't even have to read the words. Just look at it, and it's so consistent and so strong. You'll immediately get that it's for the real women of today. And their products are so fun. They're so cheeky. And this is why, despite the many options in the market, they stand out with their solid offering and all the visuals and the copy that just backs everything up. So really, to summarize, fashion branding is really all about clarifying your core and communicating that effectively. So in the previous part, we talked about how brands need to start with a vision, and what comes next is a good understanding of your audience and their context. So enter 2020 with this crazy pandemic that has pulled the rug literally under all of us. Like, no one was spared. Every day, almost every other hour, I hear about another brand that has shuttered or is doing layoffs and everything. And it's really sad. It's really depressing. Like, really, a lot of people have been affected by this throughout the world. And a lot of consumer mindsets have shifted also because of what has happened. And the market pulse shows that there's a movement towards, an essentialist mindset. And it begs the question, really, like, what is the role of fashion in this essentialist driven world? And what role do brands play now that so much of consumer behavior has changed? So with that in mind, we actually the meat of this whole discussion really was us gathering several insights on what we think the post-pandemic Filipino consumer looks like. So for my first point, think responsibly. Consumers will keep brands in check. With the many volatile changes we've experienced throughout this ongoing pandemic and, all the human rights issues and so on, people have been forced to rethink their values and also the way that they consume. So with the information age, actually, this was already happening even before the pandemic, this drive towards conscious consumption and just being more mindful about the brands we're advocating. But that divide and that consciousness grew even stronger now because, with everything that's happening in the world, a stark divide has really been created between the brands that have chosen to take action and those that have not. And that brings us to some case studies I've prepared here to showcase some examples. So case study, the bad. Everlane, where to begin? It's really sad because I'm actually a fan of Everlane.
Right?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Everlane. Actually, well, the thing is, with all the bad things that have happened for a lot of people in the industry, while this time shed light on so many issues, I feel like a lot of these issues naman din were already present even before. So, kumbaga, the pandemic just pressed further on the cracks that were already there. And with Everlane, so they're a clothing retailer that sells modern basics, and their brand is built on the tenets of, radical transparency, sustainability, and it's really, of course, like, fashion is still a business. Like, a lot of brands, Macy's, Nordstrom. Like Nordstrom was doing really well before the pandemic, but because of what happened, had to do thousands of layoffs. So yeah, like fashion is still a business, but when your brand advocates for ethical values, we have to expect more. And so Everlane was, when he started the company, see Michael Preisman, I don't know if I said his name correctly, but he has marketed the brand as one grounded on sustainability, workers' rights, and fair pricing, which is why so much backlash happened when it was discovered that nearly every member of their part-time team was laid off to silence them because they were planning on unionizing. I mean, all they really wanted was to have the same benefits as the full-time employees, and the timeliness kasi then of the layoff was really also what was problematic. They used the pandemic as an excuse that they were losing money and everything, but then there was also like a lot of buzz going on internally in the team that sales were actually going up. So the narrative or the excuse to say that sales aren't doing well just didn't make sense. And actually, when I read the stories from the workers, the staff that did these complaints, sabi nila, we were fans of the brand. That's why we even joined. And if they had just handled things better, if they just weren't removed so abruptly and so inhumanely, then it wouldn't have been such a big problem. They wanted it to be a conversation between them and the company. Yung story pa daw was they were just trying to log into their Zendesk accounts and then na-lock out na lang sila. Like, can you imagine? That's how you find out na you lost your job amidst this scary time. So now you have to look for a job. So they even have like a whole line called 100% human. So syempre, diba, parang there's nothing human about what you guys did just now. So that's really why there's so much criticism.
Yeah, I think that's also one of the reasons why some fashion designers and brands are conscious of branding themselves as sustainable, all of that labels, because if you're putting out there that you're 100% transparent and then there's a point that you're not, that's when like this kind of backlash comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So another sustainability darling, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Reformation and, their LA girl, cool aesthetic and everything. So they also experienced a lot of backlash because apparently the founder, Yael Aflalo, was accused of creating such a racist and unsafe environment for people of color. And it started kasi actually when the brand made a donation to the causes. But the thing is, donations are simply for show when it's not reflected internally, and it was revealed in the comments. So, they're the perfect example of a brand trying to ride on this movement and trying to push relevance for them and use this narrative to their advantage when actually, internally naman, they weren't doing this. And wag ka na lang magsalita kung hindi naman pala ganon, diba? And she was accused of not giving Black employees the same work opportunities, treating them with disgust over the years, and sobrang nag-viral lahat that their internal workplace culture is so, so bad. And the founder decided to step down after these allegations. Pero, I mean, honestly, even if you step down, you have to make sure that there are receipts, like you actually have plans on making change happen. They're trying now. They have said they've released a lot of press about it, but until people actually see concrete action, until there's more representation in their team, it's all just lip service. Yeah. So I also have to mention all the other casualties of this whole pandemic, and basically everyone Diet Prada hates. Like, thank you Diet Prada, siya na yung nag-research for me and pinaste ko na lang yung mga ginawa niya dito. Every day is like, okay, another brand is canceled. Ano ba nangyayari? From The Wing to Bando to Man Repeller, Refinery 29, even Bon Appetit, which was my safe space in the internet, pati yun affect dito. So the takeaways here really is that really it's Correct. Anyone kasi can write a check. Anyone can mobilize like resources. It's as far as your pockets can go naman. But it lacks authenticity when it's just that. And it's limited in impact and it's not really sustainable. And rather than just doing, it's more meaningful when the stakeholders know that the organization has been applying itself in this way over time and internally and externally. And yeah, so kaya actually talagang for Everlane and Reformation, the backlash that happened with them was really because they were driving as purpose-driven, idealistic brands, pero yung corporate culture pala didn't really translate these values.
And even if like the founders stepped down, who's deemed as the founders of everything from company culture and everything, the casualty sticks to the brand, not to the person. So that's why it's very, you have to be conscious of that along the way, not just on the visual level, but I think also talagang down to the people, right?
Exactly. So I mean, it's not all bad. I want to point out one good one. So Glossier, I am such a brand hoe for Glossier. It's so weird kasi parang nobody naman was prepared for the pandemic, right? Like there's no playbook on how to manage your brand throughout this pandemic, but it's so cool how Emily was just able to lead her team so well throughout everything. And they are, they prioritize safety and just being human in general by deciding to close the stores early. They are one of the first movers of closing their stores, and they decided to even compensate their workers amidst this closure. It's so nice to see them prioritizing public health and just the founder choosing to be accountable for her own people. And after they decided to close, it was nice to see content from them that really put their community first. So they were asking here, like I have this one caption that I included here. They were asking, what sort of content do you want to see from us? How can we make your day better? And there's that, it's such a nice effort for a brand to talk directly to their audience and just ask, like, how are you feeling? What can I do for you? It's not an excuse to say that you don't know how to navigate this time, when you can actually just directly involve your consumer, and you'll be surprised how much you can learn from that and how much you can engage your audience more in that way. You can actually do polls. There are so many ways to talk to your audience now. Even like here, they just talk to them in captions and Instagram comments. So there are so many ways to involve your community. And what's also great from them was how much action they took. So from donating hand creams to frontliners to ultimately donating so much money, like $1 million to BLM organizations, and then creating a grant for Black-owned beauty businesses. So it's cute. It's so cool how they were able to tie that to the DNA of their brand about democratizing beauty. Na pati yung grant nila, they weren't just lip service na parang, we're gonna give money. Anyone can do that. But the choice to tie it back to their ethos as a company and to support other beauty businesses is really something to commend them for. And yeah, basically, I feel like now they're releasing more products, and they even released their glossy hoodie again. And it's so cool to see how with all their efforts, the audience is really more engaged with the brand even more, and solidifying, they've solidified loyalty even more. Okay, tama na. Baka maubos oras natin when I talk about Glossier. Okay. So for my next point, the new bayanihan, consumers will prioritize shopping small and local. So, we're seeing the shift towards supporting local, hyper-local, even to a certain extent. I live in a condo and I don't know my neighbors, but someone initiated that we create a Viber community, and now I'm seeing them. They're real people. This is the guy from that unit, and he's selling pandesal, and it makes so much sense to buy from him now, not just because it's convenient, but also because I want to support this guy. And I know that sentiment is something that a lot of people are feeling right now. And We're seeing a lot of friends and family supporting each other on their entrepreneurial pursuits, from ube pandesal to sushi bake and all these other things. Like even when Vanya released her essentials collection, just the response of the local community to make it a sold out collection. Gabbie experienced that as well with her release of face masks. So it's really great to see the movement towards supporting local. And I also just messaged like a few local brands to ask them if they felt this response, and they all said that they did feel that their customers were still in support of them. From Proud Race to Annika shared that she's super grateful that there has been so much support from her loyal clients, and even gaining new ones along the way. So that's really, really cool. So for after discussing these 2 points, like, we'd like to bring in Miss Gabbie Sarenas to talk to us about these things and to talk about how she's been with her brand.
Mhm.
Hi.
Hello, Gabbie.
Hi. Yes. Internet is spotty, so I'll use audio for now.
Yeah, your presence is here, so
Yeah.
it's all good. I, by the way, just want to say that Annika, the brand that you mentioned earlier, I think she's here. So hi, Annika, somewhere
Hello,
there.
Annika.
Yeah.
Hi, Annika.
Yeah. Gabbie, thank you so
Yes.
much again for coming into here, coming and sharing your time with us. I think one of the first things that we want to ask you is, how are you? How are you in terms of, I guess, what happened in your community, the people that you have during the when the lockdown started? How were you guys? How did you guys deal with all of that?
Okay, that's a lot. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Okay, let's go back first during the first few months of the pandemic, the lockdown. So that was the time it was a real slap on the face because you don't know where to go. There's no guidebook as to how do you navigate through a pandemic. I mean, it's the first time we have experienced such. So it was a time where in 90%, at least 90% of my business was affected because we rely heavily on custom orders. So it means we have to be as close to the client as possible. You get to know your client face to face. Physical interaction is very important to this. With the cancellation of events, not just our weddings, actually our weddings were slowly gaining traction because it's 2020. It's such a good year to get married, right? Cancellation of events like our annual pop-ups. So we rely a lot on physical interaction. So we had a hard time adjusting to this. So it was basically like 3 months of, or even more of, like really quote unquote soul searching on what is best for the business, or just not dealing with it, but you're also responsible for your people, your employees. That's the most important thing, that as a business owner in whatever sector, whatever business you hold, no matter how big or how small, you are responsible for these people that you hired. So it was a time, or as up to now, it's still a time wherein, as the owner of the business, I had to step up and re-engineer. I have to reskill my people, meaning you have to give them something new. Had to reinvent whatever product. Don't get stuck on whatever product that I have. Redirection, reimagine, all of those things. So that pivot plan or pivot practice, we've been, at least me and my team, we've been handling that for since maybe second month of the lockdown. So far we're doing better. It's slow, but there's still good business. And again, I have to also think that it's my responsibility to my team, and of course to the people then that who are who would want to have something, like just give them a little bit of joy. I mean, maybe that's you're thinking of maybe what is your purpose at this time.
And I actually, with that, I wanted to bring up correct me if I'm wrong. It's Retreat Petite. What
Yes.
was that that you had? Can you talk more about that?
Well,
Since you were talking about, you were talking about being productive still. I think that was
okay.
when your project, right? So if you can talk more about that, explain what it was, and what was the whole motivation for that?
Okay, so Retreat Petites, it's a the essence of that is retreat petite, meaning it's a small retreat, a small pause, a petit pause, if you will, to relax, just to stay still, whatever it may be. So during the time we're in, we were all filled with anxiety. We don't know what's gonna happen. So um I live in a place wherein it's surrounded by plants. Okay, it's a jungle, it's a ecosystem. I wish I could show it to everybody. um so whenever I see plants or see wood, it slows me down. And then looking through Instagram posts of some friends, I saw that there was an increase um of
Crazy rise.
people, yeah, crazy
Yeah.
rise of people who want to take care of plants. It's like, okay, here's the plants. So I've noticed also that there's a sense of responsibility with them, wherein, okay, I have to take care of my plants, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I can see all of their reactions. And there was this Vogue article wherein um it says there that flowers gives this sense of an intangible emotion. It could make you happy, it could give you warmth, a hug, etc., all of those things. So it ties up to that. So it was my own project wherein it's a journal for myself to keep myself less anxious. I asked a couple of friends, okay, can I grab some photos of your children and have it embroidered? So they said yes. Now, best part is these new embroideries, it's a challenge for my employees. Apart from doing our usual sampaguitas, our usual anahaus, and the usual bougainvilleas, these are new plants wherein we can actually use after the lockdown. Okay, you guys, I mean, my employees, okay, you can practice on these, make samples, and then at least they're productive in their own home. They're not just there at home doing nothing. They're still productive, they can still earn, and it also serves a little purpose for my audience, wherein we're still alive. This is what we can give for now. Like, at least this flower, an embroidery of plants, can give you a sense of a hug, a warm hug, like how I personally feel with plants, or how some people feel with plants as well.
That's
And
so
then
beautiful, Gabbie.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as you know, what Deane said earlier about with all these Dior, the founder, it all starts in the founder and the value of that person behind the brand. It really shows that your movement in terms of what you've been doing before the pandemic, it's slow. It's not fast fashion. It's all the embroidery. And even it really reflects the kind of value you give, to the plants. You finding that value that people now are all plantitos and plantitas. It really like connects everything, the Gabbie Sarenas brand and just that retreat petite exercise, and it makes so much sense.
It's
But yeah.
actually a good engagement with your
Mm-mm.
audience. I mean,
Mm-mm.
it's not selling. we're just
Yeah.
posting embroideries. It's a good conversation engagement wherein you can have with your audience, no matter how big or how small. It's giving an emotion more than anything else. It's not, you're not out there for selling anymore. It's at least concern, like, hey, like say hi, hey, how are you, here's some flowers, hey, how are you, here's something to brighten up your day.
Mm. And parang there's one thing also that we discussed before during the Monday off session was about community and how this pandemic has constrained us of that. But I mean, from that example alone, you can still build that community even without, the events, all the pop-ups that you want to do to engage with community, just by really connecting to them on a real human level. That's community building in itself. So, Deane?
Yeah, super agreed. I was actually going to say that very thing. I think with the recent things you've been doing, Gabbie, it has really brought a lot of well, it's always been personality driven. You being it being named by you, after you mismo. But feel ko like there's more of a human element talaga with everything you've been doing so far. So yeah, you're doing such a great job, Gabbie.
Thank you.
Is that the question? I have a curious question. Is that the
Okay.
ones that you used for your mask? So I want to segue to the mask now.
Yeah.
When did you start doing about it? How did you decide that, okay, it's time to make the mask? Everyone has been doing it. Is that the kind of mindset you had in your head when the Mayari mask came about?
Okay, so the Mayari mask, when it was conceptualized idea-wise, it did not have a name. It just was like a face mask. And I watched this pivot seminar, which is very good. It said there that, how about, it was during the first part of the lockdown, like maybe like 3 months during lockdown. It was, the guy said that humanizing things, it's what people would look for. So when we see, people will get sick of seeing, like, let's say something that is, they're just gonna wear like N95s, or like very medical grade. So maybe trying to humanize things is actually part of our quirk. So the mask was an incubated project wherein I personally had to think of ways wherein to offer not just a mask. So let me explain first. So the business goal for the brand is to always aid and complement, especially now, the binibini and the ginoo of the day. So I had a talk with Deane and Cookie, because I was part of their brand aid, yay. So they actually gave me a good shake on what do you think is what your audience would need? What do you think would the binibini and ginoo need today? So times have changed right now. Products, like the value of products or how you spend your money will change. So the face mask isn't anything new. In fact, we were late in the game, aka, as you say, the second mover. So I wasn't in a hurry because I noticed that people are going to wear face masks now. As always, we were never in a hurry to release something, because if you release something that is rushed or half-baked, it's not going to look its best. My aunt always tell me you have to do your best into anything that you do. So it holds true up to now. So the face mask is actually not doing something different, but doing it differently. And at the same time, we held on to our brand values and the look wherein we placed on the charm of our embroideries. We still placed the piña, the pineapple fiber, And then another thing is we addressed something with the secures. So when you get a face mask, it's either you have an ear loop or the ties. So being a being a person that I am, that I would like both, and I have curly hair, so I don't like that my curls are crushed at the back. So I want two different secures. So we had that quote unquote engineering as an option for not just me but for everybody else. So for me, design will always be utility first and foremost, and then you place on the sprinkles. So there.
The embroidery sprinkles.
Yeah, the embroidery sprinkles.
Yun yung make sense and look good mo, Gabbie.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
because
go
to
back.
design is
Yes, you're a
always
studio.
utility.
Yeah,
Design
and
diba?
go ahead.
Yes. I mean, what I'm saying is that when you look into history books,
Mhm.
or anything else, anything like a car or like let's say a lamp. A lamp is a lamp, but design is something that you're merging both things, utility and the aesthetic of it. That is what you call design.
Yes.
That's basically the definition of design in on a broader sense is to solve something, right? And fashion design, basically, we're just solving things through garments, through fashion element. Yeah.
Well,
Ian?
ikaw, do you have any other questions, Esme, or do we move on to the next point?
Actually, maybe just to the second point that you brought up earlier, the new bayanihan, from the last session, again, it actually this session and last one, it's all really related, and they had this example of Saturday NYC as, they're going local. They're communicating with the New York people who are because they are based in Saturday NYC. I would just want to ask Gabbie, because you were part of that sudden growth of, that Artefino. Before Artefino was medyo small, right? And then somehow it grew bigger and bigger. How was that journey like for you? Because of course you have to start from something somewhere. How has the consumer here in the Philippines, well, the ones that you have experienced, grew? Like, paano nag-change all of that, and how was that for you in the growth of your brand?
Okay, so Artifino is a really big help in reaching out to a lot of different people. So when we started, it was small, and I can see that there is a you can see a distinction with the age group, with the demographics. Not a lot on the psychographics, but a lot on the age range. I think also it was a global trend wherein you can see a lot of handwork being present in fashion, not just with smaller brands, but also the bigger brands. Now, with our consistent play or consistent showcase in such annual pop-ups, people see us there all the time. Some clients would just look at you and then keep you in mind. And once you're consistent, once you gain their trust, and trust is very important, that's when they decide to purchase, to take a conversation with you. It's always like that particular bazaar or that particular sale is a time wherein you make a conversation, you create relationships with your audience, be it a potential client or a client. So Artifino is a good platform to assist junior and senior brands. So it helped me personally promoting my brand, and I can say it's always a good experience. Any type of pop-up would be a good experience in all parts of the business, not just with sales, but with customer relations, which is very, very important.
Yeah. And parang it's also nice that you've matched, what the brand value of Gabbie Sarenas is to the brand of Artefino. So that's like matching it also now where you want to see Gabbie Sarenas, right? You are stuck in guava sketches, right?
Yes, we are stocked in guava sketches, and we recently launched our website, gabbiesarenas.com, and we are actually looking into creating an e-commerce website. So it was more of like an engagement with our audience as well, wherein we asked them, where do you want to see us? What do you want to see from us? So we listened to that, and me and my team, we worked on such channels as to, because when you see when you see an Instagram, Diane, Cookie, and I discussed this, that when you go into Instagram, which was before our main platform, when your business is growing bigger, you have a lot of products. Now people will get confused as to you offer such things. They don't even know that you offer such things. So we're moving our main platform to the website. At least now we can see that people are more aware of what our products are, that we have this and we have that. So it's more organized.
And Gabbie, it's also nice with your website. I love how you were able to showcase the collections and the storytelling behind them also, which syempre for this talk, like I went through your site and I was reading everything, and parang wow, grabe, sobrang so intentional in everything that you've been doing. So cool.
Yeah, the moment you go to the Instagram, without seeing the Gabbie Sarenas name, you already know it's Gabbie Sarenas, no? I have one question from the audience. I will be directing to Diane and Gabbie. This actually came from CJ Cruz. Hi, CJ.
Hi, CJ.
Since we are talking about brand value, there are a lot of things that's happening now. The Black Lives Movement, the Blackout Movement, and at the end of the day, it still is a business. And how do you balance that? Because one, like the movement of not posting anything, ganyan, and then it's someone's paycheck. Basically, CJ said brands are changing and consumers are too. We are looking things that are more in a globalized way. So it's not just localized. Brands get promoted through personal brands such as influencers, but messages get lost through other valid points too. And this may be someone's paycheck, but what should be done? And it may be on a simpler question for you guys. How do you balance that? Like brand value and actually making money? And that's a question that I think everyone has in their heads now. How do you balance that? Brand value and money opportunities. And when they clash, what's the kind of mindset do you have in your head and decision making?
Thank you for that question. Well, okay, like I'm really trying to think about I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive kasi. In fact, I really think that your purpose will guide your decisions in the company. I mean, for me, like with the lip service nga and the checks that all these other brands have been doing in to address that they're doing something. I read this HBR article na parang what they said was, rather than doing good work in the name of purpose, let your purpose guide your response. And you really have to think about what your company stands for and how you can use that to confront your present circumstances. And honestly naman, with regards to brand values, I feel like, well, one, they have to be good brand values. Pero about bad brand values? Kasi feeling ko if it's innately good, if it's really rooted in good, then even your decisions for the business will be good. And people will see that. People naman will see if you're authentic in what you're pushing for or not, and that's what they also buy into. It's no longer just the product; it's also what's behind the surface. And I feel like that's also part of what people are looking for or are demanding for fashion. Yeah, I hope that answered things. Gabbie, may dadagdag ka ba dun?
Yeah.
So
It's
thank
a very
you for
Miss
that
Universe
one.
question.
Wow. That's why I wanted Deane to answer the question first, because she can answer it very well. Anyway, CJ, thank you for that wonderful question. It's when I think about it, it's mostly what do you really stand for? Because all of us, we have different we have different values. We grew up differently. Um, I personally do not post a lot on my Instagram. It's mainly because I want to somehow still there's still I don't want to, I don't know if it's bad or wrong, but I mean good or bad, but I don't want to post something that I have not fully researched on. Because when you post something and then when, like, let's say, no matter how big or small, again, is your audience, they will read up on that. And if you cannot, if you don't fully understand that, like whatever you're posting and whatever you're standing up for, they're going to eat you alive. Like a lot of brands have done it. I've seen it, and it's either it can make or break you. I post it on my personal Instagram, but on the brand Instagram, we post something that is close to our principle, or at least within our principles.
So, ako naman, to add to that, well, actually, Gabbie, you might want to share about how it took you a while also to make the masks, because you
Yes.
had to really think about that, right? I mean,
We
you
have
were
to
so
think about that.
careful to, because you said that your parents are doctors or something, and so parang hindi
Okay,
siya
yes.
pwede para lang.
Yes. My parents are doctors, so it was good because you have somebody who's so meticulous, looking into what you're doing, and okay, that can't work, that can't. We have to think. Well, with the face mask, the utility of a face mask, or the principle of a face mask, is to cover your nose, your cheek, the sides of the face, and then your chin. So those are the things that we really have to cover first before putting on the, again, sprinkles. So it's always about principle. Is it going to work or is it not going to work? Is it within your values? I mean, in a personal note, again, I cannot bring out something, or I cannot do something that hindi, I mean, if it's labag sa loob. What's the English of labag sa loob?
Dissonant, disconnected.
Disconnected with what I personally feel, if I would feel embarrassed with it, if I cannot be proud with it.
Yeah, it has to be authentic. Tama, genuine in your heart. Yeah.
The genuine pursuit. That's the most important.
And
Genuine.
I guess, like, just bringing back the Everlane example and how, you know, the backlash happened. Diba nga they were promising radical transparency, fair wages, treating workers fairly. And diba nangyari yung backlash with them laying people off because they didn't want them to unionize. I mean, sa totoo lang, with brand values like that, how they could have dealt with the situation was really, let's just say their excuse daw, I mean, which wasn't true apparently, their excuse daw was they weren't doing well on sales. So let's say that you guys are currently not doing well right now. And I feel like they could have just been so transparent, and whether that's externally and even internally, na guys, this is really what's happening, and I know that we are pushing for these values, and but unfortunately this is also what the current situation is, but this is what we can do. How do you feel about that? How can we help you during this time? If you really have to lay people off, how can you support them after? Kasi they're gonna lose their jobs, eh. Recommendations, finding opportunities for them, or at least man lang giving them enough leeway to transition into losing their job. So alam mo yun, there could have just been a human approach to how they dealt with the situation, but they chose not to. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think basically just going to what CJ said and that L'Oreal, just to clarify. So basically L'Oreal said, well, globally that they are backing the Black Lives Movement. And then later on plugging a big amount of maybe advertising towards your marketplace and all. I think with that, it's up to the consumers, us consumers, to keep these brands in check and not, I think consumers are now smarter more than ever. And it's not just the responsibility of, the brand owners, no, it's really us as consumers keeping the brands in check, keeping the brands that we feel like are doing good, and not following those that are not. So I think maybe the whole point of also these conversations that we're doing is that we don't want to just influence those thought leaders and business owners, but also in a way.
Esme?
Giving money.
Other.
Oh no. Esme and Sunday, guys. So I feel like we have to be more forgiving of everyone.
Well, I agree with what Esme said. It's also our responsibility as consumers, because we are also consumers. Are you going to support that or not? And I think people now can really smell if you're doing something that's off, that's not within your authentic brand. I mean, you can't be everything to everybody. So just I still feel that your values and your principles will guide you in whatever you do.
Mm-hmm. Super agree. Okay, Esme will come back soon. Thank you, CJ, for the question.
Thank you, CJ.
Yeah, she said she's gonna come back soon. So I'm gonna check lang my notes if I asked you everything I wanted to ask Gabbie. Or I feel like we did already. And I'm sure we'll be able to hear more from you later. So I'll move on now to my next point, and then Esme can just pop in later. Okay, thank you, Gabbie.
Thank you.
Okay, so on point 3, brand new consumers' needs have now leveled up. So not only have consumer values changed, being under lockdown has forced us all to change our lifestyle and habits. A lot of us have begun to flex our self-sustaining skills. The DIY mindset is so strong. And a lot of us are resorting to, there's been a surge in like online classes and tutorials to learn useful life skills. And with more people stuck at home, online shopping has become the new norm. Literally also because people have no choice. I know that it's become the new norm na talaga when my husband's mom told us na I'm sending you something, and it was something she had delivered. And normally before, she'd be the type to use a landline pa and everything, but the fact that she was able to purchase something online showed me that wow, literally everyone is adjusting to this new way of living. And the clear winners of this pandemic are the brands that already had strong e-commerce platforms and community engagement to begin with. So if you're not online, you really need that platform. And I think what we're seeing also is spending is not completely obsolete. It's really just that the consumer has really evolved, and brands nowadays really just have to study the change in their customer habits, abilities, needs, and adjust offerings accordingly. We discussed earlier that you have to talk to your community, and really, if you don't know what sort of products your customers are looking for, then ask them how they're doing. Maybe their answers will surprise you. Ako personally, even if like I've been spending more on like loungewear, I've been looking for dusters like pajamas and everything, there are times that I just really want to feel good and I want to spend on clothes. So I wouldn't actually mind if someone started offering like playful stuff that I can also use at home. Like Sasa, I know will be launching her sheer what, I don't know what to call it. Sorry, I am not super a fashion person. Pero like yung sheer very nice dress overlay na mapapatong mo on like a shirt and jeans or on a dress that you already have, which is such a good move pa rin. Kasi I feel like people want that play, people want that whimsy in, you know, this climate pa rin. I actually read in a study that customers are buying less frequently, yes, but then the average basket size is bigger. I guess this is perhaps to maximize the delivery spend. And also disinfecting is such a hassle. So I feel like this is why the behavior has been to buy less but in bigger batches and to, you know, reduce the hassle of having to disinfect and deal with different deliveries every now and then. And being an SME myself, I also really reached out to a lot of entrepreneurs to ask them like, how are you guys doing? How are you guys dealing with this? And there are actually a lot of people who are doing well. They're just keeping a low profile. I guess kasi medyo it feels incorrect to share that, guys. I know you're all suffering, but my brand is actually doing well. I can't name their brands because they chose to be quiet about it, but a lot of them are also in fashion, also in just general like home oriented goods. So on a personal note, actually, I knew the pandemic changed me when I found myself buying a hoodie because I am not a hoodie person at all. To be fair, it was from Proud Race, but also the need to buy this hoodie was because I wanted to feel comfortable as I work at home. And this is really what's happening with everyone being at home. People are starting to invest in pieces that can amplify their home life, whether it's on loungewear, activewear, buying ceramics, furniture, gardening products, the plantitos and plantitas and the like, and even coffee, fitness equipment, just generally a semblance of everything that we used to enjoy from the outside life, from the outside world that we used to really enjoy before this whole pandemic. People are looking for that and are trying to incorporate it in their home life. So yeah, like I said, sometimes asking is all it takes, and really engage with your audience and hear them out with regards to what they're looking for. And on to my next point, safety first. Consumers will expect safety designed into every day. And it's so weird. How many months has it been? Like my concept of time, wala na akong concept of time. And really, I feel like it will be a while for this, we'll be experiencing this pandemic for a while. It'll take time before we can go back to the old normal that we were used to. And this topic of safety will really remain in conversation long after it is deemed safe to go outdoors. And as we continue to learn about new ways to live safely, we will begin to seamlessly integrate safety measures into our own new lifestyles. And people will expect brands to have consumer and employee safety in mind at all times. So I think it's worth noting that the fashion industry here in the Philippines was able to step up during this time with the pivot to PPEs and face masks. We got to see people like the Manila Protective Gear Sewing Club, and even PTRI released a Rewear face mask toolkit, guiding makers on safe ways to design and construct reusable face masks to protect our health and our environment. So I found that super cool. And of course, worth noting that Esme herself of Basic Movement, with her Masks for Masks initiative, I love how she was able to really marry keeping creativity alive while also providing support to frontliners, and by way of donating N95 masks with purchases made on the site. And given that the concept of entering a physical store is such a scary concept right now, it's important for retailers to ease customer worries and anxieties by showing an active push for safety protocols for their customers as well as their own staff. So actually, for the case study I'm going to show next, I got kasi a text message from Universe that, tama ba yung pag-pronounce ko? Sorry kung mali. But I got a text message from them that they are still operating during MECQ, and they said that they have had safety guidelines in place. So sabi ko, oh, sakto to for the talk. I'm gonna ask them about what they're currently doing. And what they said was, well, here they have this video that they put on their on their Instagram on the safety measures that they're applying. They also shared that for their employees, they've been testing them as well. So that's super cool that they care about their employee safety. And in the physical space itself, they have UV lamps to help sanitize their merchandise. And they also mentioned that, you know, in keeping their physical stores open, they haven't made any layoffs as well because they think that it's important to sustain their employees. And I think that everything that they're doing is super on point with regards to pushing for safety for customers and also their team. And of course, we were going to have Vanya join us for this section, but on behalf of Vanya, we have Amanda from her team who will be representing her. On the next slide, I would just like to show all their efforts so far on pushing for the safety narrative, from their really great PPEs to the bridal consultations that they've been doing online. So I'd love to hear more about that and how they designed the whole collection and just how things have been for them. Amanda, are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, we have here Amanda Florentino, which is the merchandising manager of Vanya Romov. Thank you for saying yes on a very short notice. Noted. But I think you would be a perfect person also to talk about this because you are one of those people who's worked with Vanya in her retail segment, right? I just want to ask basically for our audience also, what do you do for Vanya? And I know you were the one who started, or part of the team who established the Vanya Romov store in Rockwell.
Yeah, so I started with Vanya back in 2016. I actually wasn't even doing well, I was doing retail, but it was more of like the online, because we did start with the website back like in 2015 before I was there back. And so from there, we kind of just like started doing RTW every so often. Like it wasn't really a big thing because we were really more like our bread and butter was bridal and made to order, like custom pieces. So when Rockwell offered us a space, obviously like that's like such a huge, achievement already in itself. So, and I did kind of work in retail before with a bigger company. And so I kind of just became like retail manager for like starting up this store. Like it was just actually like the whole of 2017, like the latter part of 2017 was like super crazy because we had to open in 2018. And so yeah, like that's how things started with the RTW line of Vanya. Like it was really the store that kind of made it, like anchored it as one of the main lines of Vanya Romov, because before it was really just bridal and made to order. So
yeah. With that saying, so Vanya Romov early on is very known for the bridal, the made to order. Were you part of that like conception period? Na okay, let's do ready to wear now. Where did you first decided na okay, let's do ready to wear, or were there already demand from your current clients for ready to wear?
I think nung 2015 pa lang, like when Vanya released, I think her spring summer 2015 collection, parang she opened up a website. Like, actually, it was online. So the RTW was sold online, and it kind of had a really good reception from people, especially from older clients who wanted things like right away, like not to have it made to order anymore. And so from there pa lang, we kind of knew that people wanted like ready-to-wear pieces from local designers. And yeah, parang it wasn't really something that I helped come up with. It was just more of something that like it grew bigger because I guess the team got bigger and we had this opportunity to have the store. But even before that, we were like joining like Kuravi, the trunk shows. We also had like it was constant. Like our website constantly had the RTW pieces. It just wasn't like we have RTW. You know, it wasn't like a big thing pa.
So basically, it was really like an organic growth, no?
Yeah,
In terms of
it was more.
ready-to-wear.
Yeah, it was really like, are we ready for this? And then, you know, just because of the store, we kind of just like, okay, this is it. This is how we're going to start this na talaga. So, and then the team grew from there. It wasn't just me handling everything. Yeah.
And it's surprising to hear from you that it's a digital first ready-to-wear brand. So basically, you got that demand from the digital space first. Oh, well, actually, first clients and then digital space, and then later on, did your store afterwards.
Yeah, like it was really the website that kind of, because people still went on the website and we weren't as active on Instagram before, because we were a very small team. But yeah, the website kind of just let it was out there, and we would also have it in our atelier, like in our old office. Parang it was hung, and made to order clients would be able to see the pieces and try them on, and then they would buy it on, you know, like right then and there. So yeah, like it just really grew from there.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for the cats, but I think with the whole, especially now, the website and the digital portal is very important. And something that you can see also is there will be, how were you guys during the pandemic, the lockdown? I think we'll go back now to the lockdown. How's the Diner team? And then how were you able to transition back again with the PPEs and the mask? Can you tell the story?
Okay, so when we were, before the lockdown happened, actually, we were already planning to release a new collection. So the pieces that are in store now were supposed to be launched like back in March pa. So yeah, the pandemic happened. And luckily, we were able to have a photo shoot like the weekend right before the ECQ was implemented. So we were able to have these photos, and the clothes were in production or parang they were ongoing. Like everything was kind of set. We were also supposed to kind of launch our new office because we just recently moved to a bigger space, and that was supposed to happen like later in April. So we had all these plans already, and then the pandemic happened. And we kind of just gave ourselves like a couple of months. Like we were constantly talking like Zoom meetings with Vanya and everything. But, you know, everything was obviously on a standstill. And like it kind of, we were thinking, well, Vanya was really thinking like, how are we supposed to sustain this? You know, it seemed like insensitive in a way to be releasing a collection in a time where everyone is just scrambling to, you know, like no one's going out, like syempre everyone needs to be safe and everything, and we wouldn't want to be, you know, like promoting something that wasn't essential in a way. So that's how she kind of thought of like it wasn't really like we didn't want to seem opportunistic in a like to be releasing these outerwear pieces, but one of our main problems, not problems, but one of our main concerns talaga was how to provide for our employees. So we have a very small team, and production, like everything isn't like, sorry, not a lot of things are done outside. So we really rely on the team in-house. And these outdoor pieces were really just, aside from providing for our clients like a way to feel protected but look super cute, it was also something to help sustain our employees, because syempre we also didn't want to lay off people, because this is the most crucial time where people need jobs, and all of our employees are kind of like a family, and Vanya wouldn't want to just lay off people and like, especially at this time. So that's how we started with the PPEs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Deane, how's the mask? You have the mask? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that you bought. Deane was our bride.
Yes.
Yeah.
In
I remember from
2017,
before.
I remember that was a crazy time for you guys. Although parang every year is a crazy time for you guys because your brand is just constantly growing.
Yeah.
But yes,
But this stops.
the face
20
masks are so comfortable, and I have 2 of the PPEs, and they're super chic. Like, even if I don't go down the car when I go out, in the few times I've gone out, suot ko siya because I just want to feel good.
Actually, yeah, I tried them on, and they're actually pretty comfortable. I mean, like, yeah, of course, but they're pretty comfortable. Yeah.
And also
Just
very...
going.
Sorry, go ahead. It's me.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Deane. Yeah.
Also very inclusive in its size. I love that it's free size, but like, wow, same size kami ni Jess Wilson or whatever. For the first time ever.
Yeah, well, aside from like it being more simple, I guess we just wanted like because there's the cinching at the waist that, we just wanted it to be super practical.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like what Gabbie said, nandun pa rin the design and the utility. Also one of the points that Deane mentioned earlier, right now, consciousness of people in terms of buying things, aside that, I think second na yung pretty in this moment. It has to be all about utility, how versatile it can be, and the pieces that you've produced, it's not just it's a protective gear. It can also be, hopefully, after all of this is done and we're over this pandemic, it's still something that people can wear. And, that smart design, that's thoughtful design in itself, and not, as you said, not being opportunistic in a way. But
right.
Yeah,
aside from, like, I don't want to be biased or anything, but Vanya is actually, like, her creative mind is just, like, insane. But like one of the things that she really wanted to do for the PPE was like she didn't want it to be a jumpsuit kasi parang she wanted people to use it again after everything, hopefully soon. But like you can just wear it as a jacket, and it's super easy to like just have the separates, like with the pants, with the pull down pants, na parang you won't have to like unzip the whole thing if you want to go to the bathroom. So that's like just that kind of practicality in itself, and the details with like the ruffle, which is very Vanya Ramoff, and like the details on the cuff. So aside from being utilitarian and useful and actually functional and practical, it's still kind of like you can see that it's like a VR piece. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like the ruffle is like art. Obviously it's like everywhere, but like people know, I'd like to think people know that the ruffle is kind of something Vanya Ramoff.
Super. The cuff actually is my favorite detail. I don't know, parang it makes your hand look so dainty.
Yeah. Like a very Victorian detail.
Yeah. And actually, I do agree now what I love about it. And that's why it didn't feel like such a stretch to buy it. Kasi I could really imagine myself use it after. It didn't feel like something that I'd buy now and use in this pandemic and then wala na. Actually, like that's why I was so motivated to buy. And also the price was very affordable. I mean, it's
Right.
acceptably priced, which is super good as well.
Yeah, that's also another thing that Vanya wanted to kind of address is obviously people are not like business is not doing as well, and the economy apparently is like really bad with the recession and everything. But that's also something that we wanted to address. Na parang things aren't as things are more accessible. I mean, we are a designer brand, but we don't like seeming inaccessible to people. And this was, I guess, one of the things that it was like just you can't expect people to buy something that's not practical, that's overpriced at this time. So we tried as much as possible to keep the prices low, or we didn't have a high profit margin. It was just enough for us to sustain our employees. Because right now it's not just we're really like 30%. There's really only like a few sewers and cutters, and then 3 of us like admin in the office. So, and we're lucky that the space is kind of big for us to have social distancing. But just aside from like just the fact that we have to keep sustaining this business for us and like for our sewers and cutters and our production, like there's a very fine line there. We had to find that sweet spot in terms of like pricing everything. And you know, like our masks are like they're sold in sets, and they're less than 3,000 for, you know, each set. So, you know, it was hard, not hard, but it was something that we really wanted to address.
Pwede rin siyang eye mask na after this whole because it's so comfy. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Parang slip silk mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since we are touching on that PPE, it was very controversial before. I don't want to touch on that, but maybe just to reiterate the point of, you know, making masks and PPEs at this time with frivolity in it, because you know we're, you know, again, it's very thoughtful that the Vanya Rumoff team thought of a way, you know, it balances, again, going back to brand value, balances, you know, what the brand value is, what they believe in, saving your employees' jobs. That's all on it, all of it in this specific example. And yeah, do you have any questions regarding the PPE, Dian?
Well, I just wanted to add siguro na, I mean, others can say mean things about it. Sa kanila na yun, and I think it just reflects on their negativity and their perspective. I feel like your audience naman, they'll be able to really see through what you're trying to do, and you're as long as you're transparent about what you guys are doing. Yeah, and I also want to share, because Annika is in our audience. She also did something with her brand, which is yung Wraps for Keeps. I want to share that it's also really cool how she created these. She didn't call it face masks, actually. She called it wraps. And it's, you know, she really wanted to also think about like beyond using them as masks, that they have to be multifunctional and versatile. And she literally actually even showed on her Instagram ways that you can reuse these wraps, like whether it's something you can add to your bag or put it on your dog. So it's not something that loses its value after this pandemic, but it actually is still ties back to also her brand DNA and her ethos na these are classics that you can keep for a very long time, and it's seasonless, it's multi-purpose. Ang galing, super galing. Hi,
I think that's also every designer's dream, is to have pieces, I mean, for clients or for people to just value their pieces like for a long time, like for it to be a classic. And you know, that's on top of right now being a, you know, pandemic and everything. Like you're just lucky to have like Annika, like her masks. I actually saw that on Instagram. It was super nice, and that's, I guess, all what we're trying to do now as fashion people.
Yeah, we still, because at the end of the day, we still want to be relevant in these times that non-essentials aren't relevant. And yeah, I remember Annika was in our previous, the dialogues naman, and then I think it was during that conception period pa lang. It's super nice that we've seen it throughout this whole thing. And, you know, as much as we need it now, hopefully after this is over, all of these things that good designers, you know, I think good designers produce designs that's not, that goes beyond season. And it really shows that in this PP that we have. And maybe, and what you mentioned also, Amanda, about, and also Diana, at the end of the day, whatever people say, it's between the brand and its community. Outside of that, I think it's irrelevant. It's more of what you're really communicating to the community, that you have a dedicated community. And if people will say, you know, it's not affordable, in your community it is. And that's why the brand community is a very careful relationship that we all should nurture, be it in fashion and other things as well. Maybe before we wrap this up, you know, si Dian earlier when I came back was telling that you've been buying dust dusters and pambahay, and I really want to go back actually pre-pandemic. I know Vanya Ramov had this collaboration with Aura Atletica. And
Yes.
I think you're part of that, maybe that team also of working with the designs. I want to ask you about that because, you know, Vanya Ramov has been in people's heads, it's made to order, it's gowns. How was that transition, or like how was the Vanya Ramov ethos ingrained in that specific project that's very far away from what the Vanya Ramov team really does? Can you tell more about the story of that Aura Atletica collaboration?
Yeah, so we were just approached. Well, Vanya was approached by the Aura Atletica team, by Anne, and I think they were just trying. I mean, the aesthetic kind of came from, because the previous year, so that was 2019. The previous year during our Metro Wear collection, she kind of released these crop tops. And it kind of had this ruching detail and like gathering, and she kind of reflected that in such a way to make it like more practical to wear. Not sure if you remember, but they're like, the crop tops had like little ruffles on it also, and like the shorts had this really nice ruching detail with the bow, which is also kind of something that is also reflective of Vanya Ramov brand. But the hard part for us naman was finding the right material. So we weren't very familiar with like active wear material, like fabrics. So there was like French terry, which we've never worked with before. Well, we've worked with a lot of neoprenes, but it wasn't something that was a staple of Vanya Ramov. And then we were using kind of like something actually like the taffeta that we use for the outerwear pieces now. We also use the taffeta. But it was like, I think Vanya just really wanted not to lose that aesthetic while remaining functional as well. So there was the bomber jacket that had a lot. It was like an oversized kind of cropped bomber jacket that had that ruching detail and the gathered collar and everything. But it was really just more of going back and forth with how to really integrate that femininity to the aesthetic of active wear. Like, really just wanted to be able to have enough pieces. So there was the crop top, the cargo pant, the shorts, the jacket. We even had like a two-way kind of wrap cardigan. And it was really just more of trying to figure out how these pieces would be executed in a more active wear kind of sense. So yeah, I think like I like to believe that it was very successful. Like of the first couple of days, parang it wasn't in their store anymore. So yeah, we're just really happy.
Should you issue that?
Sorry.
You should release that again since
Yeah,
people
we'll
are
see.
at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it would have been a very good time to release it now. But yeah, like we were just lucky that there was we had that project. It was super fun. Actually, it was only but there was the creative assistant. But then it was truly just the two of us and Vanya, like who was really like working with everything. So yeah, like it was really just like design wise, it was really just borrowing from previous collections and previous pieces and trying to make them into activewear pieces. And that's how we didn't kind of lose the aesthetic of the brand. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Well, last question on my end. I just really wanted to ask, and I feel like some of the audiences here would also love to know more about it. So you are now doing virtual appointments with your brides. I wanted, as a previous, as an ex-bride, I still am, I know a VR bride myself, like
Yes.
had to be like a face-to-face interaction, and that was so great. And now you're doing it virtually. So how has that been like for you?
Actually, so far we've had a lot of online consultations. It's so we have this link for pick time. You can either access it on the website or on Instagram. It's linked there naman. And yeah, we really just want, obviously, like we wouldn't want people to come in and expose them. I mean, sorry, expose like sounds very funny, but to like to keep the social distancing, and it's just because I think brides are still want to get married. People still want to get married, especially now. Like it's still a big industry, and we really had to find a way to make it more seamless, the appointment process. So instead of just messaging us or emailing, we created we kind of used the pick time appointment thing to help our brides still access for bridal online consultation, which is so far it's doing very well. We still have a lot of brides messaging us and making consultations, because like the world will never run out of people getting married.
That is so true.
Yeah. But sorry, I'm not part of the bridal team kasi, so there's another person who handles bridal. But yeah, so far that's how we kind of wanted to keep the bridal part of the company alive.
Yeah. And as long as this pandemic has still not has ended, I think it's very smart for everyone to just prepare this new world, that this is the kind of world that we're living in. We have to be positive still in that way, and being smart with technology and embracing that. That's when I think that's the best way to go forward with all of this. Yeah.
Right. You just have to make use of everything that we have, and it's safer for everybody.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights. So we've learned so much from you. Thank you. And really what we're driving towards is, people are still buying, people still have needs, people are still getting married, like you said. It's just that we really just have to adapt what we're offering to the current context, and to also take note of safety as something that's super important across the board, internally and externally, in how we deal with our audience and our people. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks
Amanda.
to everyone who's watching. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Okay. So moving on to our final point, keep in mind, everyone will rethink the value of time and the meaning of productivity. So, I mean, basically our previous lives, kasi like before this whole pandemic, we ran with the speed of like and grind, and under quarantine, we had no choice but to slow things down. And for many, the pressure to be productive did more harm than good. We soon realized the importance of being mentally healthy in a time of uncertainty, and now a lot of people are being mindful of our own mental states, and also the people around us and how we affect the people around us. So we're starting to reshape our definition of what productivity means, that rather than creating the most with the least, it's time to finally measure productivity by impact beyond quantity and scale, and really tying it back to fashion with consumers, slowing down and reevaluating their notions of what time and productivity means for them. What this really calls for is really for the industry to reconsider their standards of productivity as well. And it's nice to see actually that the industry is heading there. A group of designers recently came out with an open letter to abolish the system of seasons. Really, this whole revolt against how there was so much waste happening, and it was so tied to all of this. And this whole pandemic exposed this weakness in the traditional fashion system, matching supply and demand. So before, seasonally manufacturing items abroad without advanced customer feedback, and months later hoping that these items will sell doesn't work anymore. And the traditional system was financially wasteful, but also super damaging to the environment. According to the 2019 Global Wellness Trends Report, fashion is the world's second worst offender in terms of water pollution and responsible for roughly 10% of all carbon emissions. So the price of fashion on the planet is high and real. And so as we're experiencing this pandemic, there exists a rare opportunity for the fashion world to rethink, to reset financially and environmentally. And this is so true of, major incumbents, fashion houses that control a large portion of the industry value chain. And I think it also applies to not just the existing fashion houses, but even new entrants, new brands coming in. It's the perfect time to shake things up and to improve the status quo. So really, it begs the question, what is the role of fashion in a post-consumption world? Like, I know Anna Wintour recently had backlash, but she shared this really nice quote that I think is so important. She said, "I think it's an opportunity for all of us to look at our industry and to look at our lives and to rethink our values and to really think about the waste and the amount of money, consumption, and excess that we have all indulged in, and how we really need to rethink what this industry stands for." So, in trying to answer this question, really, when we were talking about this, we feel like fashion is really, it's always been about wearing clothes to feel good about yourself. And this idea of feeling good has now evolved. So it's still there. It's really just a level further. And our final point really is that buying what feels good is now beyond aesthetics. It's beyond good branding. It's also knowing that what you're wearing is something that is good, and how it was made, manufactured, designed, and how it has impacted the community and the planet. And in terms of, this redefinition of value for fashion, I actually asked a few people in the industry. Like Annika shared that she said fashion will forever be a source of inspiration, escape, and joy. And she doesn't want to take this joy away from her clients, but she is choosing to design with intent, so she just doesn't add to the noise of consumption. And sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, pero Pier Paolo Piccioli of Valentino said in an interview that what this has taught us is that we don't miss stuff, we miss people. We don't need another shirt exactly the same. We need something that delivers an idea, a culture, something that communicates a sense of the hands that have touched a garment, the imagination that has created it, and the effort that has gone into it. So for this final point, we are inviting Maika Cruz of Sandy Cheeks to talk to us about her brand. We feel like it's so nice to have her on board because her brand messaging, like I said earlier, has always been about making her audience feel good in the clothes they're wearing, for the real women of today. And she even released a campaign on I Did Well Today, which I think she can talk about when we bring her on board. So yeah, hi Maika.
Welcome, Maika Cruz.
Hi.
Sandy Cheek.
Hi, and Esme.
Hi, Maika.
Hello.
So pretty. So fresh.
How are you, Maika? I know that summer is such a big season for you, with literally because of the nature of your products. So, how has this pandemic affected you? Yeah.
Well, personally, I think, well, I'd like to give you a little background for those who don't know about Sandy Cheeks, like what the brand is all about, so you get to know where we're coming from as a brand. So, Sandy Cheeks is basically about celebrating everybody. So, it's mostly about championing real women who are imperfect, bold, and unapologetically true to who their selves are. So, started in 2015, and we are one of the first few brands who started offering plus sizes without adding prices to it. Because in the past, when you're a plus size, it's more expensive. So that was our, I think, unique factor. We are also the first few brands online wherein we were championing body positivity. So we had models who are, not your typical models that you see wearing swimsuits. So basically, we're all about just encouraging women and empowering them to be their true selves and helping them, may it be through our products or through our campaigns, to reach their true potential. So as you can see, we're a swimsuit line, and basically, summer is like our Super Bowl. So every year, this is the ultimate season that we are preparing for. So can you just imagine the shock when we realize that there's a travel ban, nobody can um, leave the city and go anywhere else. And also, I don't know if you guys know, but Sandy Cheeks also has another brand extension, which is Sandy Cheers. So you'd think na, oh, at least you have another source of income, right? But then again, it's all about events. So Sandy Cheers is a mobile bar that's meant for millennials. It has a neon sign and a pink leather bar with cute fancy glasses that we can't use because of the pandemic. So honestly, it was a real slap in the face. Like, girl, you can't do anything right now. So it was really hard for us, honestly. So technically, what we wanted to do was, at first, instead of, it's so easy to get swept away with the emotions that, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? But as a brand, you also have to think about your people first. So that's what we did first. Me and my business partner, Alex Jimenez, we prioritized our sewers and our bartenders, and just really made sure that they're well taken care of and that they have something to eat and something to sustain themselves. And then once we ironed out that plan, we then took off our entrep hats off and then just basically did nothing. Like, for me, I know that I watch a lot of K-dramas and I ate a lot of cookies online that I saw online. And my business partner, Alex, I knew that she was playing Switch and Animal Crossing. And, it could, if this was pre-pandemic, this was something we would never do. Like, I personally thrive on checking to-do lists. I don't know if that's just me or if it applies to you guys too, but the feeling when you have, I checked everything, I feel so victorious. And just having to be forced to not do anything at this very moment, it could be, I guess, right now, looking back, it is a blessing that we are forced to, slow down and just rethink everything. So, what happened to us was, since we are gearing towards our Super Bowl, we already had everything done, like our products, our
It's all
bags.
produced na.
Yes, the bags were ready already. So basically, we're just waiting for our shoot schedules, or also our fabrics are already ready. And we reached the point wherein we realized na, oh my gosh, we can't sell this. Nobody's gonna use it, like it was really hard for us. And, we wanted to we want, as much as we wanted to push the product, we had to think about the whole situation and not get carried away with how fast other brands work. So, when you're constantly on Instagram, you see all these other brands and they put out face masks or, I don't know, PPEs and stuff. And then personally, you'd feel, am I not doing enough? Like, am I moving too slow? Or am I not doing it right? But I guess in allowing ourselves to like really absorb everything. So I felt anxious, I felt sad, I was mad, and all those things. I just fully let myself experience all those emotions and just give myself time to really think about what I wanted to do next instead of just, jumping on the next opportunity to sell a face mask where, guys, if I use the swimsuit fabric, you will just absorb the droplets faster and I would just, contribute to, I don't know, getting you sick or
Contribute to the problem, yeah.
right? Like if I was really opportunistic or if we were a brand that didn't think about these things, we could be getting you sick instead of helping you. So
Mm-mm.
after taking off the entra path, we prioritized
Mm-mm.
ourselves. Like we really embrace this moment of not doing anything. And then honestly, as a brand, I just observed. We observed what our competitors are doing. I was constantly on Diet Prada, watching all these Everlay and Reformation and seeing all this. Oh my gosh, what happened to them? And then, I don't know, like, I was thinking that maybe it's a wise decision to really just slow down. Like, it's not a crime. You're not in a race with anybody. It's basically just wanting to genuinely put out a product at this time that people could use instead of doing more harm than good. So,
Yes.
so we just let ourselves breathe and then just relax. So after
Mm-mm.
that, since we
But
were
the main thing also na parang you were saying you weren't rushing, but you did rush for in terms of serving and protecting your people. Yun yung dapat mag-rush ka. Yeah.
that's your main priority because your people are the heart of your brand. Like you're nothing without them. You cannot produce products without them. So as long as they're okay, thankfully we do have, since we're preparing for summer, we do have savings that we are intending for our shoots and all in our production and all that. So instead of going to the shoots, they went to our people. So at least they were taken care of. So after that, since we we were empathizing with our consumers, being as we decided to be human first instead of business owners first, we know how it feels like to be a consumer. So technically, we're in the same shoes as how our consumers are. Um, I don't know if I shared with. I know I talked to you about this, Esme, but since I was always online, I saw this, if not on Diet Prada, but on her page. I don't know if you're familiar with the brand. Lisa says Ga.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The
Go.
face
Okay.
mask.
The rib masks.
Yeah, yeah. So she was selling rib masks for, I think, $18, if I'm not mistaken. And you could
Yeah.
see people complaining there that this is not going to protect me at all. Although her defense was she was donating $1 of from the $18 to like feed the homeless. If I'm not mistaken, and people are like, you're just giving away $1, and I don't know, like as a brand, I was empathizing with her, but also as a consumer, I was also mad. And then during the 2 months that I wasn't doing anything, this post of Lisa got me thinking. Like I was in the shower and I had this epiphany na, oh my gosh, I think we know what to do next for the brand. Because, you have to marry the need of the people, and you also have to marry what your brand is all about, and without losing yourself in the process. So that's when we came up with our next two lines. So it was basically just maximizing what we had on hand and making it into something that people would actually really need now. So since we embraced this laziness or this slow down period, now we know what to do next because um, we saw and experienced ourselves the activities that the consumers are doing, such as working out, baking, cooking, painting, all these things, like because we wanted to do them ourselves. So that's when we realized that, what if, since people are into cooking nowadays, and honestly, we would feel really bad if we just sold the summer bags. We put vegetables on it instead. So instead of just buying the bags, you get a vegetable kit, or yeah, like that one. Ian has it. Or you can get an immune booster set where you could mix it yourself, and then it will also help with your immune system and all that. Instead of just selling the bag, like I would be
It
lying.
was like a bundle, right?
Yeah, it was a bundle.
Yeah.
You could buy the bag or you could buy the bundle. We give them options. But, you know, honestly, I'm sure you guys feel this too. There's guilt. There's really guilt right now if you're selling something to people that you don't need, especially us. Imagine being like a summer essential for how many years and then suddenly being non-essential at all. Like,
Yeah,
we
summer is over.
exactly, parang, ang
Yeah.
I don't know her.
parang, ano gawin namin? Like, so we had to, reassess everything and consider everyone, not just us, not just our needs. Because, you know, like for example, the bags. The bags are made by nanays at home. They're from outside Metro Manila. So basically, this is a community of women who have no jobs or like they're not college graduates and they just want to do something with their time. So they make bags. I think they're a barkada of nanays and lolas, and it helps them be happy in some way. We get our bags there, and also we partnered with From the Source, and they get straight from the farmers. So they cut down the middlemen and make sure that the profit goes straight to the farmers, and they're very well handled as well. So you know um, this is the time, also the best time also to be open to collaborations, because you cannot succeed on your own at this time. It's really hard. So this is why we partnered with From the Source and the Nanays for our Sandy Cooks collection. So it could be your bag today for veggies, but next summer I'm sure you'll get to use it someplace else, a nice beach somewhere. So it's all a matter of it making it as a brand, making it essential now, but still making sure it's essential the next year and the next few years after that, right? And then after that, since I see all of my friends working out and we have all these fabrics for our swimsuits, we realized that, you know what? Honestly, I also got this insight from Esme because she bought one of our two-piece suits and she uses it for workout. And I realized that I also do that too. So I go, you know what? This is a good idea. Maybe we could, use our existing silhouettes and use the swimsuit fabric so that they could also use it to work out. But we branded it in a way that they need it right now. But it's true because you could work out with it right now. Sandy Kicks, this is the name of our collection. It's basically an all-around wear wherein you can use it to work out, or my favorite, just laze around, or you can swim with it when this is all over. So it's using existing material that we have now. So instead of just buying new stuff and dadami pa yung gastos mo, might as well maximize what you have on hand. So we just wanted to add value to our on-hand products and supplies by catering to consumers' newly unlocked skills that they unlocked over quarantine. So after living the life of a quarantine person, we now know what the consumers need. So it was a nice insight over the past few months that we were locked up at home. Also, I guess it's also important to note, Amanda also mentioned it, we did lower our price for the two collections. Since our brand is all about catering to different types of women and all kinds of women, it wouldn't be fair to maintain our pricing because some of our consumers, they still have their jobs, but what about those who lost theirs, or like we're freelancers who lost opportunities at this time? So in order to cater to all kinds of women and all types of women, we lower their prices down. And the only one who's directly affected here is us, like the founders, but our people are still paid well, and I think it's a win-win situation for everyone. So
And people are still buying
yes,
because of that lowered price. So it just goes around, and they're still there. Yeah.
yeah. So I think by constantly empathizing with everyone's new way of life, you will constantly find new ways to be creative on how you can cater to everyone, wherein everybody wins, not just you as a brand, but also your consumers and basically everyone. So the biggest takeaway that we got for the two collections were that, with the rise of Shopee, Lazada, for an online brand like me, or an SME, it hurts honestly because you get it straight from either China or the manufacturers, and they really offer it at a lesser price. Yung kapalit lang is you'll wait a little. It does hurt, but it's also empowering to know that the consumers who purchase from us have been the same consumers who have been supporting us from the start. So these are consumers who have already 2 pieces of sandy cheeks with them, or like 3 suits with them already. And they're supporting you because, one, probably they believe in you, and 2, because they empathize back. They probably know that we're having a hard time too, even without having to broadcast it and all that. And I think that's the most empowering thing about having a very sound branding and a very strong message that you put out through all your campaigns or your posts, even just through your brand tone. It's helpful in a way that you instill to the consumers who you really are as a brand, that you're not there to take their money. You don't treat them as an ATM machine, but you treat them as people who have feelings and that you understand where they're coming from. Sorry, am I too chatty?
No, it's perfect.
Right?
I think everyone can relate in this. I think we got also comments then, all it's being a professional in its sense and being adapting with the times. And as you mentioned, it always comes up, the community. You mentioned it's the same people buying from you. It's the same people who knows the branding of and the brand value of Sandy Cheeks. And, I believe, Sandy Cheeks, Sandy Cheers, Sandy Kicks, all of that, it's going to be the same people resonating with the brand value that you guys have. And one thing for sure, for even your campaigns, I don't think you highly edit your photos, like your models' photos, right? And we can really see that from visuals alone. You don't even have to tell this story, and people understand in one glance from your campaigns na, okay, even if I don't face Maika Cruz and, we have this all talk of explaining that, they see that on the get-go, and that's what a good brand is, understanding visuals alone. The value is there and everything. And you did launch a campaign. I was part of that, and Deane was part of that. It was all about feeling good in your skin, in yourself, in what you're doing right now. So si Deane flashed earlier about, fashion. What is fashion's role now in this current situation? In your personal opinion, what does it mean right now to buy something frivolous in its sense na it's not an essential product? Maika.
Well, I think, first of all, as a brand, you have to understand where your consumers will be coming from. So, yes, fashion is cute and you can wear it to nice places and all that. But at this very moment, even you as a person or as a founder, you know what your clothes mean right now. Like, this is, to be honest, this is the first time in the whole of quarantine where I put on something nice, because it's honestly mostly pang bahay na lang nowadays.
Si
And
Dian with her Gabbie Sarenas look today.
sandy cheeks bottom. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay, wait, papakita ko na rin. Naka-sandy ako na short.
right? So it's basically, I think this moment is all about just understanding people in general. It can't be about you and your sales, or you as a brand, or you and your brand ego na parang, why am I not famous this month? Or like, why is people not supporting my brand right now? I put on so much good stuff. So with the I Can Do Anything campaign, what we wanted consumers, or not just our consumers, but basically everyone who was watching it, to feel that we're all in the same boat. We're feeling the same things. This is not uniquely yours. You're not the only one who is suffering right now, but it's everybody. So we just wanted to be that friend who reminds you that, girl, it's okay. We're in this together and you don't have to worry about anything. We're actually so surprised with the positive feedback the video had. Not to brag or anything, but for a small SME like us, we did get more than 72,000 views for that video. And we also posted it at Manila Fling. So there's another 3,000 views there, and 100 shares. It only goes to show that people do feel the same things. Like, it's not parang they related to it, that's why they shared it, or they wanted someone they know to see it and also be reminded that it's okay, you're doing your best in this crazy times that nobody even expected to happen. So it's fine. Just don't be so hard on yourself, which I know I'm so guilty of also. Like, I'm so critical of myself, but it's a process.
Yeah.
You have to take it slow, and I guess moving forward, you have to, do the little things. Get to know yourself.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I'm in no way an expert on like being mentally healthy person, but I think learning from other people, you would get to input whatever it is that works for them, and maybe try if it works on you. So like,
Mm-mm.
example, you know me, Esme, I'm always so anxious. I ask you so many things.
Yeah.
Like, okay ba to? Or ganyan. But like recently, we banned the word stress in our house. So we don't say the S word here because, I'm not sure if you guys are guilty of this too, but it's so easy to just throw it around. Like, I'm so stressed and it's nothing, like when you look back, parang, why am I so stressed about that? It's because you're acknowledging the feeling na, oh, I can get stressed over this little thing. So we stop saying it and just say the S word. Para, you don't acknowledge the feeling. And this works for us.
Yeah.
But that's just us. You can find something that works for you. So, all the 3 campaigns that we launched, I barely felt the S. Like, I was super chill, which I was never in the past. I was able to sneak in 3 episodes of dramas while launching everything. Like, I realized that if you don't acknowledge it, it won't happen, right? So if these little things, these little changes, you can do it, why not, right? And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's really up to you. You try to get to know yourself better, and then that's when it will really reflect on your brand as well. Like, when you know what you want as a person, and when you know what you stand for, it's not hard. It won't you won't have a hard time making it reflect in your brand. And like, getting to this
Yeah.
decision, I know you guys know this too because you have clients, which are, no offense, I'm also a client too, but clients can get really difficult. So I think through all the experiences, even in this pandemic, I realized that I value my peace of mind more, even if like you'll offer me millions of pesos. Yes, that is very blinding and tempting. But if it's just gonna cost me the S word, or if it's just gonna demean who I am as a person, I won't do it, because life is so short and I respect myself and my time and my effort enough to know what I want to do with my life and what I want to bring in, I don't mean to
Yeah.
sound preachy or anything,
Yeah.
but these are just all experiences that led up to this moment. In this pandemic, like, what is it that really matters to you? Is it like your sales, or is it like your life? Like,
Yeah.
you value your mental health right now, diba? Or over sales? I don't know. It really depends on you as a person. It's mostly a good time to reflect on what you want.
Yeah. And it really shows the
May English lahat yun, Maika.
I know!
Yeah. But yeah, definitely, like, what Dion said earlier, what the founder's values are is reflected in the brand, big or small. Dior, tagal na ni Dior isn't there, but come on, until now, the new look is still being referenced by Raf Simons and all the creative directors. And it shows that, you banning the S word, living your life that way, it reflects to your campaign and your pieces and your thought process. And, maybe some people here came in thinking that we'll be discussing about, the right colors, because this whole thing is about what makes a good brand. And we didn't discuss something about colors or fonts, all of that. We were discussing about value, and because that is the main soul of a brand. You can get your graphic designer, get Serious Studio on Monday off, brand your business, but at the end of the day, the good brand stands on you as a founder, as you as an MSME, and it's beyond the colors. It's part of it, but you have to really define what the brand value is, and just going back siguro to that frivolity. What's fashion's role now? From your end, at your end, it's about feeling good.
Yeah.
And it's feeling good. It's feeling good. And with Gabbie Sarenas, it's about going slow, prioritizing the craft that she has. With Vanya Romoff, with Amanda earlier, it's about still reflecting this femininity towards just PPEs or the yoga pieces. It's all of that. And we weren't talking about what's the right color to pick, because I think right now with the social media age, we grew up in this internet world. That's our thinking. Ano ba yung okay for us na look, or all of that? We have to be reminded that we are beyond graphics, beyond the fonts, and beyond the visuals. Because for you, the community that you fostered, it's because you share the same value with that amount of followers that you have. It's not just because it's a pretty thing, diba? It's because they resonate with what you believe in. And siguro last, in terms of why we're here, frivolity and fashion and all of that. Parang I read this article from the New York Times by Vanessa Friedman. Why should we shop? At the end of the day, why should we shop? It's pandemic. It's not essential. People are gonna judge us now. Why are you shopping there? You have to focus on your ganyan. During the 9/11, it's incomparable. I know it's a pandemic. It's not. But it's still a bad situation that we are in, an unfortunate situation. But she said there that why should you shop? Why should you buy from the businesses? It's to keep the business growing, or the business just keeping it afloat. And as consumers, that's our responsibility to buy from the right people and the brands who has the value, like Maika and Gabbie and Vanya. By selecting those businesses that you want to keep still alive, you're still helping the economy in some way, because business is still going. people are exchanging money. That's what I know. That's the main role of it. Beyond frivolity. But of course, iba yung feeling na, I don't know, you guys online shop. And, see, sabi din ni, sabi ni Dian earlier, she just shopped from Proud Race for a hoodie. Why Proud Race for a hoodie? You can just buy a basic hoodie. There's something about feeling, and, we don't shop. I don't know, do you guys shop in the malls anymore? But that feeling of, andito na yung package ko, and I know it came from a good valued brand. That's the kind of feeling that we have to foster now, that we can't go to the racks anymore. And, it's a very good, all of our guests today are like really good examples of, how you foster that growth for fashion in this very uncertain world for non-essential products. And also, you mentioned, we're all MSMEs here, diba? Even Vanya, medium probably. And it goes to show the majority of the businesses in the Philippines are MSMEs. And if we don't keep on supporting each other, I mean, you buy cookies from wherever, we have to grow because we are the biggest one here, and we have to keep ourselves alive for our people as well. It's cut across all boards. Gabbie, Maika, and Vanya Ramoff care of Amanda. Everyone is doing their job as MSMEs because at the end of the day, we're fashion, but we're businesses as well. Dian?
You wrapped it up so nicely, Esme. I have nothing more to add, really.
Yeah. Maika, baka you have anything else that you want to share, final thoughts in terms of moving towards this new world of consumers and brands?
Well, if you're on Instagram, most of the time you could see that there are a lot of new brands that pop up. I hope, although it's great for people to find new sources of income, I hope as a brand, you don't forget what you're all about. Or like, I hope brands would make more time to develop who they are and what they believe in, so that they could maintain they'll have longevity more as compared to just ending it when this is all over. Because it's also important. That's one of the most overlooked things, like brand values or ethos and all that. People do forget that, and it's really important because it will take you years to maintain that. That's
Yeah. Thank you, Maika. That was so good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Not to brag or anything, but like marami sa amin dito, St. Paul, Pasig. So, Maika's my batchmate from high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gabbie's also from St. Paul, Pasig. So, I think we're sitting here.
But it's really, again, no, thank you so much, Maika, for all your insights. Follow Wear Sandy Cheeks, guys, and support your brands, support your MSMEs at the end of the day. Yeah. Thank you so much, Maika.
Thank you.
All right. So, Dian, I think we're going back to what the tagline of, I think the best wrap up for this is really the tagline of Serious Studio. It has to make sense. It has to look good at the end of the day for everyone in fashion, even F&B, even the cookies. Everyone's doing cookies now and banana bread. I really believe in what Serious Studio does. If people want to work with you guys, where can they contact you for Serious Studio?
Well, working with us is a choice. Look at our website, serious-studio.com. Look at our work and read the things we wrote about ourselves. And if our values resonate with you, then we'd love to hear from you. You can just send us an email, hello@serious-studio.com. And if you aren't a brand necessarily, but just someone who follows brands, you can also just check out our Instagram if you want to get inspired by the articles we've been sharing and also all the work that we've been putting out. So Instagram, Serious Studio then,
Yeah. So they have the article for this one. Can I get again who was the one who wrote this?
This was
This
written by Chantel Munoz, one of our brand strategists on the team. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
the
so
art
this
Ross do.
yeah, the article is there, so go and check there. Internalize everything that we've said today. I would like to thank you, Deane. Deane, thank you so much for sharing everything with us. We want to thank all of the guests earlier and everyone who's here. We will have more sessions like this soon. Just follow the Instagram page of PHx Fashion Conference, and we hope to see you there. Thank you so much, everyone. So make sense, look good. That's it. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.